Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick with me? Famous scenes with drama queens and heroes acting out there on a silver screen. Come grab a seat, the popcorn is on me.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
The summer is made for road trips, adventures, and journeys of all types. Well, maybe all types. Today's movie review, we're going to talk about Carolina, Caroline, and we're also going to interview the filmmaker. That's right, the director behind this film, Adam Carter Rehmeier. So let's dive right into this quick take review, courtesy of WNCW's Screen Scene in partnership with Meet Me at the Movies. And after that, we'll take a break and then come back with the interview with Adam Carter Rehmeier. For Meet Me at the Movies on C19 TV, I'm Noel T. Manning II. Most of us have wondered what might happen if we left the familiar behind and explored the unknown. In Carolina, Caroline, director Adam Carter Rehmeier explores that idea with intensity through a romantic neo-Western crime drama that feels inspired by films like Badlands, True Romance, and dusty 1970s road trip adventures. Samara Weaving stars as Caroline, a young woman longing for something beyond her small-town experience. When she crosses paths with Oliver, a charming con man played by Kyle Gallner, the pair embark on a journey that's filled with deception, danger, passion, and self-discovery. Their chemistry is undeniable, grounding this love story even as their choices become increasingly self-destructive. Along the way, train robberies, bank heists, and acts of sacrifice reveal that the road less taken often comes with unexpected cost. The film's atmosphere also resonated with me. An Americana-infused soundtrack, striking locations in the state of Kentucky, and a gritty, muted color palette creates a nostalgic world that somehow feels timeless. You add in strong editing, memorable performances, and a standout appearance from Kira Sedgwick, and you'll find yourself swept up in every mile of this journey. Carolina, Caroline earns a B report card rating, and it's in theaters now. For Screen Scene, I'm Noel T. Manning II. Thanks for joining us right here on Meet Me at the Movies, and that was a Screen Scene Meet Me at the Movies partnership with WNCW and C19 TV review of Carolina, Caroline. We're going to take a quick intermission. When we come back, Adam Carter Rehmeier, the director of Carolina, Caroline, right here on Meet Me at the Movies.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick?
Sometimes the roads that we choose reveal who we are, and other times they reveal who we've been pretending to be all along. And that is the idea that sits at the heart of Caroline, which is now in theaters. Welcome back to Meet Me at the Movies. I am Noel T. Manning II, and Carolina, Caroline is one of those films that blends elements of romance, crime drama, and a road trip adventure into something much deeper. It's a meditation about identity. It's a meditation about connection and the choices that shape our very lives. Featuring standout performances from Samara Weaving, Kyle Gallner, and an engaging Americana soundtrack with a visual style that feels both timeless and reflective of the 1970s, Carolina, Caroline invites audiences on a journey where destiny, free will, and self-discovery often collide. Recently, I had the opportunity to sit down with the director Adam Carter Rehmeier to discuss the film's themes, the memorable performances, the music, the locations, and the creative choices that helped to shape this unique cinematic journey. Let's join in the conversation with Adam Carter Rehmeier on Carolina, Caroline. Hey, Adam, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for sharing this movie with us as well. Yeah, as I watched this, I really felt like it was a road movie. It was a romance movie. Also, it was a meditation on identity. It was all of those things at once. And it is so difficult to do that and to do that well. And you did it. And so I found Carolina, Caroline to be one of those that just stays with me. And so I'd love for you to tell me, what was that central question or idea that you wanted to explore in this film?
Well, the script for this, I did not write the original script. So when I came in on the project, I felt like, a hired gun, and to sort of realize this, have a vision for this thing that already existed. That said, I really enjoyed the first act of Tom's script. It's almost completely intact. Everything, like the way that like the sort of chance encounter with Caroline and Oliver, and how it happened, and the quick change scam, and all of that was all in there, and leading into them going out, like him taking her out on a date and having, like it developing slowly, and to the point where they go to the quarry and they swim together. And that was the point in the original script. It was probably page 17, 18, like that. I just really liked the tone of it. And to me, the film at that point wanted to be like a 70s style road movie. I felt it in there. But then other things happened in Tom's script later on that we ended up changing, that the movie was kind of a crime thriller, and it played by a different, tone. And I remember early in my meeting with Trevor White from Star Thrower, I was like, I see it more as a love story, and I'd like to build it out in that way. And they were excited by that idea, because I don't think they thought of it that way, because they were kind of locked in on the script. And we made a lot of changes. Tom and I made changes together, and then I took kind of a pass at it in the ramp up once I'd cast Sam and Kyle, and Tom was working on a movie called Charlie Harper. He was going to go direct, and so I kind of had a window in there that I could really put my stamp on it too, with regards to, the movie wanted to be a country western movie. It wanted a good-looking guy, a good-looking girl, a gun, and a muscle car, and it wanted to do something like those kind of 70s movies did. That's what it was telling me. And so then we kind of reworked it into the thing that it actually became, and that was cool. I hadn't usually, when I write, I'm so locked in that part. Once I've written the thing, I want to make sure that it's perfect before anyone sees it. And then, I want to be in director mode, not in writer mode ever again. So with this, because I hadn't touched it, it didn't originate through me, there were things that, I wasn't precious about anything the same way you are as a writer director. So that was liberating, and I could just take something out. If I wanted it out, I could just say, hey, Tom, let's get rid of this. Let's switch it to this. Let's have it be in a roadhouse and not at so there were things that we could accomplish with it, because I wasn't so married to and rigid, and that was cool as an experiment to see if I could even pull it off.
I really love the ideas, and some that stayed with me, that tension between free will and destiny. And Oliver has his own argument for this one for sure. But I didn't really catch this till the end of the movie. But thinking back to the beginning, I think Caroline and Oliver were both trapped by comfort and routine. Caroline with her own small town, hometown vibes. But Oliver was also trapped by his constant thirst for that next con, but also doing it solo, doing it by himself.
Right.
So thinking about, you talked about that first act. How much did that drive you, their relationship, and what was going to come next? How much did that drive your direction going forward?
I was very conscious of that in the redesign, because and I'll tell you in like outside of it, like I don't so in the original draft, he actually tried to like kill her at the end of the script, and there was like it was like a me versus you type of thing, and then it was like totally radically different, and it was so it was tonally I where that felt more like that crime thriller aspect of it.
Hmm.
I I couldn't imagine doing the front half of the movie and then it getting to that place. Just in my mind, it would be a different movie, and it wasn't one that I was willing to invest in because I wanted to make sure that we were so strong and firm, but believe the love aspect that
Yeah.
we couldn't turn on her. So I
Yeah.
wanted to redesign that because it just felt like it felt like no, I'd rather see the version where he loves her so much he like
Yeah.
makes decisions that like in the spite of the tragic elements of the movie that there is the sort of sacrificial part of it for her benefit, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, the casting was spot on. Samara Weaving, Kyle Gallner, tremendous chemistry there, and also a scene stealer from Kira Sedgwick. Wow, I mean one scene, but
yeah,
mesmerizing, mesmerizing.
yeah.
I know that you and Kyle have worked together before on Dinner in America. So talk about that casting, of especially those three.
Yeah, like Kira came like early on in the process. What after I had cast Sam, I wanted to have somebody that I felt like I could mirror him. In fact, there's one point in the movie where, Caroline's mom kind of comes into a two shot and they're both with their backs to the camera and they look almost like it's almost like, it's very mother-daughter and mirrored and that was a cool little beat to have just subliminally and visually for the audience. But Kira came in and we treated this like a one act play. I told her that I would not flow break her at all, that she could come in and she was going to be able to do the whole scene. So we had her for 2 days and
Wow,
I made sure that we were going to do long takes and they were like 12-minute takes per. So
wow,
it's a really
wow,
long scene. And it's like we treat it like a one act play. She does the whole thing for 12 minutes and then we have to flip and we go on Samara, and we do so we did all of Kira's coverage and her side and then we flipped it on that same day after lunch and we did all of Samara's and
wow.
that was what we did on day one and then we had some little pickups and things for day two to get that filled in the gaps. But the emotional stuff they did was all done in one day.
You been in here before? I know you. No, I never been in here. You live in town? Just passing through. Just passing through, huh? Where to? I don't know. No destination? This is my destination.
Ooh.
This is your... Oh, I like that.
Oh, well, look out.
Thank you. This is my destination, too.
Yeah, yeah. And Kyle, did you know early on that Kyle was attached to this?
No, when there was no actors attached when I came on board, so we cast the film ourselves as well as we went. And first I cast Caroline, and then once Sam was involved, she'd seen Kyle in Dinner in America, and she really wanted to work with him, and he was a fan
Wow.
of work, and like it was just really a great like two actors that respect each other that are both very professional and both like just very good at what they do. Like they were like really a dream to work with and a breeze to work with. They're just really hardworking actors that brought a lot to the table every single day.
Well, it definitely came alive on screen as well. So great job on the casting and the performances. I mean, you can have a great cast, but if the performances don't pull through, but man, they pulled through for sure. One of the things also I'd love to talk about is you have this appreciation for music, and I've seen that in some of your other work as well, and that plays such a powerful role here as well as almost a supporting character. Talk about why music is so important for you to communicate sometimes when dialogue doesn't.
Well, I'm like before I was even a filmmaker, I was a musician. So I love that, music's very important to me. Like, whereas, visual images give you so much information, like you really feel with music and you feel with sound. So that was super important. Now I'd like to take credit for the soundtrack in this movie, but well, like I would think 99% of it's Justin Crone, my editor. He curated the movie front to back with
Wow.
all the music in there while we were cutting it. I didn't have any. I didn't. I wanted the tone shift to happen with aesthetically, like in the original draft, Oliver was wearing a suit. He had a Rolex watch. He drove a Mercedes. I wanted to change everything to classic Americana, classic, muscle car. Like I said, all denim, things that felt like kind of, neo-Western type of thing, or adjacent in a way, like a 70s type of movie. Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. We're talking Great Texas Dynamite Chase, things like that. Badlands. Um, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. So wanting to have that aesthetic and bake it in, the soundtrack should follow too. And while I didn't have anything really planned out outside of the Caroline covers that played more of a part in the script when I wrote it, I had the John Edwards song. I had two different artists cover it in different places in the movie. And long story short, it's where the Jason Isbell song goes now. Um, and Justin really just peppered in everything from the beginning all the way to the end of this movie in a really like a cohesive, brilliant country adjacent kind of way.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's a little it's a little snow globe, like a little perfect snow globe,
Yeah, yeah, and another perfect aspect of this are the locations. Once again, those are supporting characters for me as I'm watching this. I'm feeling I'm on this road trip. I'm feeling I'm there. Was most of that shot in Kentucky?
Yes, most of it was shot in Kentucky, with the exception of the first bank that she robs. We shot that in Indiana, about an hour into Indiana. Everything else was shot in Kentucky, from Louisville and the surrounding metro to Bardstown, Shepherdsville, Shelbyville, uh, Frankfort, New Haven. Like it was all over the state. Like we were not in one place for too long. It was almost 100 locations on a 25-day schedule. It
Mm.
was a nightmare.
Wow.
I was waking
Wow.
in nightmare zone every night, talking in my sleep and trying, like it was bad.
Well, we're out of time, but I tell you, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with me. I'd love to spend another hour with you talking about this film, but I just want to give you a chance for the final word. Anything else you want to make sure you share with audiences as they're preparing for Caroline?
Well, just come out and support your local independent cinema, and yeah, like that would be great. It means the world. I make movies for an audience, so it'd be great if they show up and see you at the movies.
Hey, Adam, thanks, buddy. Appreciate your time, man. So good to talk to you.
All right, brother.
Many thanks to director Adam Carter Rehmeier for joining us right here on Meet Me at the Movies to talk about Caroline. And as director, he had a lot to say about this film. I only wish we'd had more time. The film does wear several hats at once. It is a road movie. It's a romance. It's a crime story, and it's a meditation on the choices that we make that shape our lives. And at the heart of this film, though, I think it really is about people searching for something more, even though they may not be entirely sure what they're looking for. Caroline is in theaters now. History often remembers the battle, but great films remind us of the people who fought them. In the film Lucky Strike, director Rod Lurie takes audiences into the final months of World War II, telling the story of one soldier who was stranded behind enemy lines during the Battle of the Bulge. Starring Scott Eastwood, the film blends suspense, history, and the human cost of war into a story that is inspired by true events. I recently spoke to Rod about the film's historical roots, the unexpected characters, and why stories from the greatest generation continue to resonate today. Let's take a look. Hey, Rod, so good to see you. Thanks for joining us again for Meet Me at the Movies. And I've long awaited this film. I've been following you talking about it for a while. And when I heard it was
Right.
getting picked up for theatrical release, I was incredibly excited. And anybody who has followed you over the years, not just your work, but followed you, they know that you have a deep respect for the military
Right.
and especially the greatest generation and for those who served during World
Yeah.
War II. And I'd love for you to share about why Lucky Strike was the right story for the right moment and right now to bring this
Well,
back.
that's God, we could take an hour answering that question, but I will say this right now in this country of ours, which very fractured country, and very unfortunately fractured. Um, my wife says that it used to be we hated one another's leaders, now we just hate one another, and
Mm.
it's really and we both say the same thing. You're not a real American. And this is a movie about real Americans, right? And this is about a story about an unabashedly unambiguous time, right? The bad guys were the bad guys, and the good guys were the good guys. And so it's easy in that way. It's easy to make a movie here without the interference of public perception, right? You can, so I think I've made a movie for both sides, and I just think it feels good to be able to look back and then look, man, death is never pretty, and killing people should never be pretty in a movie. But when you're killing Nazis, it's okay. It's like you're taking them out. And in our movie, we knife them, we shoot them, we hang them, we kill. I mean, like every which way they go down.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, one aspect of the film that sparked a conversation between my son Thomas and I, we watched this together, was the inclusion of Americans working alongside Nazis, and that was a piece of history that I think many audiences may not be familiar with. So, what was it that
Right,
drew you to that element
right.
of the
Yeah.
story? Why was it important to include that?
Well, for exactly the reason that you said. It was called Operation Greif. It was a guy named Otto Skarzany was the general that was in charge of all that, and and because it's so unknown, I think it should be known. And so yeah, it plays into the film, into the film a little bit. It's kind of a unique piece of history. It especially took place during the Battle of the Bulge. Wasn't really successful, but it definitely occurred.
It was an interesting component for sure, and definitely got our attention. And something else that commanded the attention was Scott Eastwood. He carries this film on his shoulders. As a
Yeah,
viewer, I was
yeah.
really invested in his character's journey. And what made Scott the right fit for this role? I know that you worked with him on The Outpost, and
Well,
at
you
what point
you
did you say he's the one? He's the one.
You just answered the question. I had such a successful outing with him on the Outpost, and he's such a terrific actor. He's so committed. You want to know? There are many reasons to hire him. Let me tell you one that I've not told anybody else yet, and that is that I needed a real man for this role. I needed somebody that I knew was going to be out in the cold, would be sucking it down like there's no tomorrow, and could bitch to his wife, but not to me and not to the crew and nobody else. And Scott has got that. He's got that incredible sort of mannish resistance. Although a lot of women, probably more women, could do that than men. I will tell you that when I was casting The Outpost and this film, that several actors straight up told us they didn't want to deal with the physicality
Wow.
of the role. Yeah, it was too difficult. They became actors, not coal miners. That's not what they wanted to do. Um, and I knew that Scott would do that. Scott at first rejected the role, and so he didn't want to do another war film. Obviously, he changed his mind. So in between, we spoke to a couple of other actors, and eventually they would just come clean with me and say, "I don't want to be out in
Mm.
that weather in Bulgaria in December. I don't want to be climbing mountains because I told them they have to do their own stunts.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them, wussed out, didn't want to do it at all.
Wow. Wow. Well, I know we're about out of time, Rod, but I want to give you a chance to say any final thoughts that you have. I have tons of more questions, but just want to make sure you have the final word for anything you want to make sure you share with the audience.
Well, first of all, you can ask me a couple more if you want. And secondly, one of the things that I will say is that the lack of ambiguity about the good guys and bad guys allows us to make a very entertaining film, right? I don't have to get into the psychology of the enemy. I don't have to empathize with the enemy in any way like you would in almost any other war film. So in this film reminds me a little bit of I probably got a few years on you, Noel, and but there were movies way back then, like the movies like The Guns of Navarone or The Great Escape or movies like that, in which, because it was so unambiguous, you could in fact entertain an audience. And I think that this movie is A, entertaining, and B, by the end, I also hope that it's a little bit inspiring and hopeful, by the end of the film.
Yeah, it's both of those, but it's also educational. I mean, I think about the title itself, Lucky Strike Cigarette. That
Right.
becomes a character for me in this film. It connects
Well,
people, it connects events. When did that idea first emerge?
well, this whole movie began with my partner when he was 16 years old and in France, and interviewed a veteran of the Battle of the Bulge, and that veteran told him this entire story. And
Wow.
Mark came away with it, said, "That's gonna make a good movie." And so he presented me with a script that was exclusive to this guy's story, and then I added some stuff. But the Lucky Strike cigarettes were in all the canteens. They were on all
Wow.
they're all on all the sea rations, the combat rations that those soldiers had. And they became very symbolic because they would flip over all the cigarettes in the box except for one. That's one you would save for the end. If you got to it, it meant that you survived a long time, and so that was, so yeah. But also, look, I hope people watch this film, Noel, and go up and read a little bit about the Battle of the Bulge, because it was a hell of a battle. It was unnecessary because it was Hitler's last gamble, and he never stood a chance. And a lot of people died as a result, as usual. And but it's a very, very interesting and fascinating battle. And I'm happy to have made a movie about it.
So
Yeah.
thank you for bringing this to the screen. And Rod, as always, thanks for taking time to be with us on Meet Me in the Movies.
Okay, Noel, thank you, and keep up the great work.
It's always good to see you, buddy.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Take care. Stories like Lucky Strike remind us that history is often shaped by ordinary people facing extraordinary circumstances. Our thanks again to director Rod Lurie for sharing his insights into the making of this film. And you can find Lucky Strike in theaters this summer from Roadside Attractions and Saban Films. And as a grandson of a World War II veteran who served both in the Battle of the Bulge and on the shores of Normandy, I always am drawn to films like this. Today, I celebrate and honor the men and women who have taken that call to protect and serve our nation and serve in the military, past and present. Know that you are appreciated. For Meet Me at the Movies, I'm Noel T. Manning II.
Many films to view until we meet again. Next time we see you, we'll gladly fill you in. We'll tell about the happy and the sad ones. We'll talk about the good ones and the bad ones. Many films to view till we meet again.
Want to stay connected to everything happening at Cleveland Community College? C19's monthly show In the Loop brings you the stories, updates, and the highlights that matter most right from campus. From program spotlights and upcoming events to alumni interviews and college updates, In the Loop keeps you informed and engaged. Catch home game schedules for all CCC athletics, plus fun and meaningful conversations with the Yeti along the way. Whether you're a student, employee, alumni, or supporter of CCC, this is your inside look at life on campus. Tune in monthly on C19 and stay in the loop with Cleveland Community College.